You all know what I'm here to talk about today. Marvel TOKON Fighting Souls was announced today, coming to the PlayStation 5, and I only just saw this like a few minutes ago because I was downstairs watching Lost with my family, and before that I was balls deep editing Intertwined Fates, ironically. But I heard there was another Marvel fighting game coming out, and to be honest, I didn't really care at first until I heard it was being developed by Arc System Works, which instantaneously made it a big deal for me. Now, I already watched the trailer once or twice, but I wanted to do what I used to do with the old BBTAG reveals before the game came out, where I go through and analyze it and dissect the gameplay and what the gameplay might be like. And I feel like my perspective is a really interesting one to have on this topic because I am a BBTAG player. Arc System Works' first big team-based fighting game. Yes, it is true that Guilty Gear Strive had its 3v3 mode, and I really hope that this game, Marvel TOKON Fighting Souls, has a 4v4 mode where it's 4 players versus 4 players, because me and the boys actually taking a team-based fighting game seriously would be the hypest crap, because Guilty Gear's mode is already effing dead. So if any of you have not watched my BBTAG content, a brief history about me as a fighting game player. I've never been a Marvel player. I never ever played MVC3. I think I might have learned 1-0 combo in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and that was about it. That game was not it for me personally. Having no bursts and as few defensive options as were in that game just made it a mess, and I just never ended up taking it that seriously. As far as Marvel goes, I wouldn't call myself the biggest fan either. You probably won't see me as hyped for this game as I was in the past for BlazBlue, but I have gotten a lot decently into most recent modern Marvel stuff, seen most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, and I play a lot of Marvel Rivals as well. I'm your typical normie when it comes to Marvel. I'm not one of those people who read the comics because, let's be honest, reading sucks. And like I said, my expertise lies in BBTAG, though I am also a semi-regular Strive player. I know a lot about the mechanics of Strive, but I think that my expertise on BBTAG in particular will give me some insight into the mechanics of this game and what could be going on here, perhaps more so than people who are just primarily Strive players. I have played both of the Arc System Works games that have had these team-based mechanics in there, so I thought this would be just an interesting thing to kind of dissect and talk about. It's been a long time since I've actually cared about an upcoming fighting game at all, so perhaps just on the hype pretense that maybe this will be a game that me and the boys can play on a team together, let's dissect some of this trailer. So we got some redesigns here. I think they said in an interview that all of these designs are brand new that Arc System Works designed for the game, which is really cool to hear. Look at this attack that Captain America starts with. This might just be cinematic. This just might be like how the rounds start or something. But then Iron Man does a kick into a like this. Honestly, this first string right here, this sort of looks like a light, medium, heavy string. And that laser beam at the end looks like a special. It kind of looks like light, medium, heavy, special. In a lot of ways, this initial string reminds me of how BlazBlue used to be. Light, medium, heavy. Well, this looks more like a follow-up attack, so maybe this is just 2 buttons. So A, B, B, and then a special, a laser. Now, obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is as a BBTAG player is that this might be some sort of auto combo string or some sort of Rekka string where if you press the A button like 4 times, it might do this string initially. We have already had confirmation in an interview that this game will have both classic fighting game inputs as well as simplified ones, and I'm hoping that maybe you could choose between the two without losing any of the actual depth to the gameplay. I didn't play Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but I think that this Unibeam, I think that it was called in that game, was not actually very good in that game because of how ridiculous neutral was. Maybe if the neutral is somewhat simplified in this game, we might see moves like full screen lasers being utilized more than I think they were in UMVC3, but as a BBTAG player, I see a move like this and I think Batista laser which is a really obnoxious move. We'll have to continue analyzing the trailer to see if this game has anything that may look like it might have air dashes, traditional things that you commonly see in Arc System Works fighting games, that sort of movement to play around moves like this, because I don't think there was like a universal air dash in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which to me as like a lower level player, at least in regards to that game, would make a move like this a lot more difficult to play around. And so you see, I start yapping and then the game just confirms it immediately. You see Iron Man jump and do an air dash in, and it's true, Iron Man is Iron Man, so this might be a character-specific mechanic. We'll see if someone else does it, but just seeing that gives me hope for the movement of this game, about having air dashes in the game. And another thing that you'll notice if you look at this particular air dash is that, for those of you who don't know, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle and BlazBlue air dashes in general are really fast. Instant air dashing is a very important part of that game's movement, whereas in Guilty Gear Strive, the air dashes have a lot more startup on them, so that you can't just like be as crazy with your aerial movement, and it makes learning how to approach on the ground much more important than it is in a game like BBTAG, where aerial movement just takes up so many different options that you would probably choose when approaching an opponent. But this looks like a combination of the two. There doesn't seem to be a lot of startup on this Iron Man air dash, but it also doesn't seem to be as fast as BBTAG air dashes. I think it is more akin to a BlazBlue air dash than a Guilty Gear air dash because of that lack of startup. Like, obviously as a BBTAG player, knowing that this is going to be a team fighting game, I see this and I think, okay, call an assist with a little bit of delay, maybe a forward assist with a little bit of startup, air dash over the opponent, cross them up for day one shenanigans. So let's go a little slower here, because we know Iron Man gets blown up. And let's see what exactly this Captain America does to a jumping in opponent. Iron Man pressed a button. Iron Man pressed an aerial kick. And Captain America did an anti-air right in the crotch. And anyone who has seen any video of mine knows how I feel about anti-air. I feel like it's a very stupid, overpowered mechanic in every fighting game I've played. I really hope that maybe this will finally be the game where there's an anti-ground equivalent if you're in the air approaching and you bait them pressing a button that might have invuln to those anti-air sort of attacks. But I'm not holding my breath. If I ever make a video on this game, you're going to hear me rant about that, I'm sure. Back to the analysis. So what he actually gets off of this anti-air is more akin to a Guilty Gear dust attack, where it sends them into the air and you can do a big aerial combo off of it. Except I believe in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, there was also these sort of launch attacks that launched the opponent into the air. And in Guilty Gear Strive, they did a sort of like screen transition like during them, which is not happening here. So this actually kind of reminds me more of the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 launch than it does the Guilty Gear Strive one. Maybe the fact that it doesn't have the screen transition is what's making me feel that way, but this sort of cinematic finisher that he does here, where he launches the opponent into the ground, is very Guilty Gear, very charged dust attack. And like conceptually, that's cool, but I'm already terrified seeing something like that be linked to an anti-air, to something that looks like it has head invuln. Because head invuln is just so oppressive in every. I'm gonna try to keep my complaining about that to a minimum. I hate it. But anyway, this is something that it is very different from Guilty Gear dust attacks, and that is that after the slammer, where you slam him onto the ground, he is able to continue the combo and pick up off of it with his own button. And I think that in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I might be wrong about this, but I think most of the time when you did a launcher and you launched them into the ground, you used assist to pick up off of it, and I feel like that wasn't always the case. I feel like there were characters that could pick up off of these launcher slammer moves by themselves. But from what I remember, those links were pretty tight. Don't take my word on Marvel vs. Capcom 3 too seriously. I never really played the game like that. But in this game, Iron Man bounces on the ground And when he touches the ground again after that initial bounce, it looks like he's like falling over for a moment, which to me translates to the fact that this will not be a difficult Link to get at all. It will be pretty easy to combo off of these ground launchers, at least from what I can see. Smacks him across the face with his shield. And you see, this is another attack. See, this attack right here, this looks like the Captain America equivalent of the Iron Man string that we saw at the beginning of the video. So he does the ground launcher off of the dust. I'll just call it a dust for now. And then he like does like A. We'll call this attack A. B. And then this actually looks more like a follow-up. Like it reminds me more of moves from BBTAG that you could only do in auto combos, because this looks more like a follow-up attack than a standalone attack. So this again looks more like what Iron Man did at the beginning. Iron Man looked like he did A, B, B special. This Captain America string looked like it was A, B, B. That's what it looks like to me. And then he calls an assist. I have no idea who this character is, by the way. fake fan. But what is interesting is that you like see this like animation where everything grays out in the back, and it looks like he's tagging out into her. And this looks like a sort of special or something. Unless this is like a unless this is like a follow-up attack that she does, that a character will do automatically when tagging into them. And it looked like there was more to that we like maybe couldn't see. Maybe this does like a screen transition. We actually see later in the trailer that this game does have screen transitions, sideways transitions, like in Guilty Gear, how you can just push them past the corner into the next part of the stage, sort of reset neutral that way, which I personally think is pretty cool. We'll talk about that a little more when we see it. But this looks like going back to BBTAG again, this looks like a cross raid. This looks like a cross raid, where in BBTAG, if you did a full auto combo, and the very last hit of the auto combo after the most recent patch would result in you spending all of your assist meter to have your next character tag in and do like a follow-up attack for massive damage, and this costed you all of your assist meter, which was a resource in that game. So what's interesting to me is that if you've read the interview about this game, you've read that even though it is a 4v4 game, then the current mode that we know about, which is obviously 1v1, it's a fighting game, it looks like you're only going to have to really learn one character, and the rest are more so just like assists in the back. And we don't really know how this is going to work yet. Maybe your main character will just like have a health bar and you can call assists and whatnot, but when that character's health bar reaches 0, you just lose. It's not like you go to the next character or anything like that, which makes perfect sense, because ArcSys in their most recent Guilty Gear update, well, not the most recent one, but in the Guilty Gear update where they introduced 3v3s, which looks like it might have been sort of a beta test for this game, even though it was 3 characters versus 3 characters, regardless of the fact that it was 3 players versus 3 players as well. Those teams all shared one health bar, and yes, you could tag into a teammate and let them take over as the main character if you wanted to, but also if you were just playing with some mates and you were the only one who took the game seriously, like I did with my friends who don't play fighting games, then you could just be the main character the whole time, and they could just like call assists when they would and whatnot. And that makes me think like that might be something that's an option in this game. Maybe this tag out mechanic is something that you can do if you want to switch characters mid-match, but you don't have to. Like, that's my guess, is that your 4 characters will share one health bar. You can stay on one character the whole match without like having a real big detriment for doing so. But if you want to tag into another character for whatever reason, you could. We don't know that for sure. That is my guess. And this is a very interesting interaction. This interaction right here, let's slow this down. Let's slow this down a little. These two are running at each other. And this looks like Iron Man has some sort of weird projectiles going on. This reminds me of like an install super. You know that super Virgil had in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 where he had all those swords spinning around him? This seems sort of like that, in the sense that maybe Iron Man does the super where he just has a bunch of projectiles going forward in front of him throughout the duration of it. And she does Phantom Pain, straight out of Central Fiction. Just Phantom Pains through that shit to the other side, and then hits him with one of those Dulcim, is that his name? I don't play Street Fighter. Dulcim lows that hit full screen. Right in the shins. Smacks him across the face. This looks like a special. This looks like that Zangief move. I don't know what it's called. I don't play Street Fighter. But that looked like a special. A, B, or no, like, oh, look at this. No, this is happening on Iron Man's side. He's taking some aggro, and it's like he does like a counter almost. Is there an animation for this? Not really. He just like blocked the attack like normal. There was nothing there to indicate that he did some sort of counter move. And yet Spider-Man comes off and gets her the hell off of him. So this might be this game's sort of counter assault mechanic, which is an old mechanic from mainline BlazBlue and Persona 4 Arena, where you could spin 50 meter while blocking to do an armored attack that pushes them off of you. And this seems like an improved version of that, because in those games, those attacks were garbage, and you could just get blown up for doing them. They could just like jump cancel moves to block them on reaction, just all kinds of booty. But this seems to freeze her in place, freezes the screen. Get off of me. And this sort of reminds me of the BBTAG burst in the sense that when you burst in BBTAG, the incoming attack does 1,000 damage, which is not a lot when you look at the character's health in that game. But those attacks can't kill you, and that's what this attack sort of looks like. It freezes the screen, like Iron Man probably spent some resource to have Spider-Man come in and kick the character who is doing a block string off of him. And since this freezes the screen, this doesn't look like something that she could have reacted to or anything like that. Like in like with counter assault, you can sort of just like jump cancel moves like that they armor through and just block the counter assault and blow them up for it. BBTAG has its own version of this defensive mechanic called Reject Guard, which for you Marvel players is just advancing guard, except it costs 1 meter and doesn't have strict timing. So this looks like this game's sort of defensive mechanic where you can use some resource. We don't know if it's meter, if it's going to be an assist resource like in BBTAG, but they use some resource to have one of your assist characters come in and get whoever has you in a block string off of you, which I think is really good. I love it when fighting games have good defensive options like burst, like reject guard, like universal DPs. These are all things that I feel are necessary in a game for a good balance between offensive and defensive options. And I feel like games like Marvel were so slanted towards offensive options, and even games like mainline BlazBlue, where Overdrive was just so much better than Burst, and they used the same meter, so realistically you weren't going to burst if you wanted to win a match unless you were desperate and going to lose if you didn't on the spot. So, not even knowing how this works yet, just seeing her do a block string and Iron Man be able to use some mechanic to get her off him looks great for defensive options. And don't get me wrong, even with Reject Guard, which I feel like is the best version of these defensive mechanics to date, there were still ways to bait Reject Guard and deal with it if you thought the opponent was going to do it, so that you as the offensive player could continue your offense and be rewarded for a correct guess. And obviously I'm not going to speculate too much into how that would work because we don't even know what this is, but it's something to keep in mind, and I am glad to see stuff like this in the initial first trailer. And then we see here, after Spider-Man gets her off of him, Iron Man does a Unibeam, which kind of looks like it happened automatically. Maybe it didn't. About where do you think this Spider-Man thing ends? Maybe right here? Iron Man was in neutral? Maybe he inputted this Unibeam manually, or maybe it's part of the animation. If it is part of the animation and this is like a tag out thing, you can see this golden like grayed out thing. Maybe this is him tagging into Spider-Man, sort of like we saw earlier in the video where Cap tagged into that one chick doing what I thought looked like a cross raid. So he tags into Spider-Man, who runs up, does some attacks, jump cancel, does like a aerial slam move for a hard knockdown in front of him. Basic fighting game stuff. Look, we got some Spidey senses going on here. Is this a counter? Spider-Man with the Spidey senses? Yes, it's 100% a counter. His spider senses saw this kick coming. You know what this reminds me of? Lene 4A. Is it 4A? I don't know. That Lene kick. It's awful. But this looks like a better version of that. But anyway, Spider-Man does this counter-like attack, smacks her face for it, and it looks like he's able to call Iron Man assist after the counter to go into a full combo. Whatever the heck a full combo is in this game. But he does this like flip attack, maybe a special, maybe the end of an auto combo. We don't quite know yet. But this is where we see the Guilty Gear screen transition. Where in Guilty Gear, if a character's in the corner, then the opponent's able to push them through the corner for extra damage and push them to the next side of the stage, which sorts of resets neutral, which is bad for the offensive player, but good in the sense that they get extra damage. And I felt like this was a great way to take away a lot of the you just lose if you get caught in the corner nonsense that a lot of players can get stuck in, while still rewarding the offensive player for putting them in that situation. So this is very Guilty Gear. And you see them coming back to neutral here. You see them coming back to basically the same position that they are when the game starts. And that's real cool. I like that that's in this game. I think that more games should have that. I wish BBTAG had that. It don't. But it's going to be in this game. So, I don't know what this green thing is. If anyone has any guesses, you can lay it on me in the comments. But Spider-Man does what looks like a full screen grab. If I had to guess, this looks like that Faust fishing pole BS, except that's an unblockable or an overhead or something. Basically, it's something I always get hit with, is the problem. But she blocks while calling assist, and she was able to block the attack. Spider-Man does like this come-in follow-up attack, which is really interesting. This reminds me of Marvel Rivals, where he just grabs them and just gets in there, you know? But this character, I don't know who this is, tell me in the comments. This character blocks, and I think the green flash was her calling assist. So she didn't call assist while in a block string, which is good, because if that was the case, it would be effing stupid. But she was able to call assist, block this attack, and have the assist cover her, which is real good. I do this in BBTAG a lot, where I call a forward assist, run up, block the opponent's attack, and then the forward assist hits them for getting aggressive when I had my assist resources coming up. And then she calls another assist because this is a 4v4 game, and as a BBTAG player, that sounds like a lot, because just having one character doing assists was already crazy in that game. And Guilty Gears was a chaotic mess, mostly owing to the fact that you could tell it was their first time doing a team-based game that involved more than 2 players, so I'm very interested to see how that pans out. But anyway, my point is that this looks chaotic as hell. And then she tags into Star-Lord, who I'm very hyped, because that's one of my favorite Marvel characters. One of my favorite DPS to play in Marvel Rivals. But anyway, enough about me and my taste. He looks like he's copying the Dante special from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where he just blasts a bunch and then does a big attack at the end. So this looks like a super, obviously. So when exactly does he do this? This is like a come-in attack. She tags into him, and then this happens. So she tagged into him, and he immediately went into super. And there was like no downtime either. Like, because this tag out animation freezes the screen and all that, that basically means that as far as the opponent is concerned, there is no downtime between him tagging out, and then as soon as play resumes, he goes straight into the super, which means that if you tag into a character, it looks like you can immediately cancel their assist into whatever you want. Whether or not that's true, we're gonna have to just wait and see. Let's let this super play out. And as far as like the actual game's concerned, look at how fast all of that happened. Like, this is looking like a fast-paced game. I don't know how fast characters are gonna die, but this sequence takes place so quickly. Which is exciting for me. I mean, like, I think Ultimate Marvel, like, was a little too fast, but that game's speed was mostly owing to the fact that you had to take down 3 different characters' health bars. BBTAG is a very fast game, and this sort of reminds me of that. We're gonna see if the game is like best 2 out of 3 for a round like in Guilty Gear, or if it's just one and done like in BBTAG. But anyway, he has his signature Marvel Rivals flip, which kind of reminds me of L-Felt Grenade, where you just jump over the opponent to like bait more grounded attacks, do some cross-ups. It didn't look like he's able to attack during the flip, which makes him strictly worse than L-Felt, but it is what it is. He was able to kick relatively fast after hitting the ground, though. These Spider-Man projectiles, double hitting projectile animation kind of reminds me of that bitch Ruby's quarter circle forward B, which was broken for tagging out of. So we'll have to see if you like can set things up so that you put in if you like put an assist somewhere and then you do a move like this, if you can tag out and this character will continue doing the move. Let's look back at this for a moment. Let's look back at this for just a moment. She's just doing this kick, and then she tags out. Okay, she wasn't really doing anything active to try to figure out that if, like, she was doing a move that would continue when she tagged out or not. There is a bit of, like, you can see her frame snapping more to, like, her default stance, like, right there. So, maybe it would cancel the move of whatever the active character is doing if you tag out of them. Which may be necessary in a game with 4 assists. So this is Star-Lord jumping over the Spider-Man projectiles. Kick. Launcher. This looks like a more normal anti-air, like a more normal 2B. Kick. Launcher. Puts a grounded opponent in the air. Jumps. Aerial button. Aerial special. He has freeze mechanics. You know what that means? Restand bullshit incoming. I already feel it. I already feel the restand. That's also how I know I'm a Star-Lord man. Because that's what I used to do with Jin all the time. You can't do it anymore in BBTAG because they gave that to Yumi instead, but whatever. So on the frozen opponent, Spider-Man breaks out. I'm guessing he could have blocked here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a true combo. But I'm guessing he got like throw restand BS. that's my guess. That is my assumption. This looks like a sweep. This looks like one of those sweeps that like moves the opponent forward. And this looks like a really good sweep. Sweeps like this that like propel your character forward with a low, at least in games like BBTAG, games like Guilty Gear, this would be considered a real good move. Maybe not in Marvel, because neutral in that game is an absolute mess. But maybe in New Marvel, this will also be good. This looks like a big unsafe button you use mostly as a combo tool. Maybe even part of a... This looks like a follow-up. So what was this look? This kind of looks like Sweep BB. And obviously this is just an assumption. But if it is Sweep into BB, that means this game has like Under Night reverse beat in it. I'm leaning towards the guess that that's probably not correct, but it's just a thought. So, attack, follow-up attack, and that's the end of the combo. The follow-up attacks look like they're going to be the end of the combos unless you cancel them into a special or call assist, which is perfectly normal. We got a new clip here where he does a full-screen laser. It looks like lasers are going to be prominent in this game. It is what it is. It's Marvel, it's crazy. And Spider-Man here does what looks to be a backdash? Or maybe this is like a universal counter? Because if it was a Spider-Man specific counter, he'd do like a Spider-Man thing, but instead he does this attack where it like calls in an assist after. So maybe this is like some sort of assist focused defensive counter mechanic. Or maybe it is just a backdash, and backdashes have like some crazy crap you can do if it's registered that you backdash through a move. I don't know. We'll have to see. There's definitely some options. It doesn't really look like... Yeah, because he only backdashed after the laser had connected, which makes me think maybe it is some kind of counter mechanic. A universal counter mechanic. Because we see here how it ties into the assist coming in. And I think that's really cool. Because one of the best things about BBTAG is that it has universal DPs, which means that no character is ever lacking for a defensive option. You always have to be aware of the defensive option on the opponent's side, and you yourself always have access to it. Unlike in Guilty Gear, where if you're playing a character without a DP like Elfeld against someone who does have one like Unica, you're gonna be screwed a lot of the time. So if there is some sort of universal counter mechanic that is perhaps tied into the assist system, I think that's really cool. We'll have to see if it costs some sort of resource or not. But anyway, Ghost Rider comes in here. Normal. Normal. Follow-up. No, that's a special. That's a special for sure. This looked like AB special. I might be wrong. Maybe it was B follow-up special, because the second attack's pretty big. There doesn't look to be like really long, crazy combos in this game. It sort of looks like button, button special, or button, other buttons follow-up special. It looks like basic 3 to 4 hit combos, unless you put an assist in there to extend them. Or unless you like do an aerial launcher to get an extra 2 hits in the air or something. I don't know, that one Star-Lord combo was pretty crazy, if that link where he landed and went into the sweep really was true. If that's the case, then that means we have ground into air into grounds nonsense, and like he didn't even need an assist or meter for any of that. So, but everyone else looks like the combo length is going to be relatively short, and maybe you can extend it like with an assist or something in sort of the same manner how in Guilty Gear you can sort of make a combo go twice as long if you throw in a rapid cancel. I don't think this game's going to have anything like that. I think assists are going to sort of take the place of that. So if you want like a double length combo, you could throw an assist in there, and we'll have to see if there's any sort of like burst mechanic or anything like that that will help the player who is getting hit sort of be able to defensively deal with that. I hope so. There's a burst in every Arc System game, and I feel like it's a necessary mechanic. I can't take other fighting games seriously without bursting. I think the defensive players need that mechanic for a game to not be super heavily offensively focused. So anyway, we do see another character doing an air dash here, which is sick. Like this shows me another screen transition, by the way. This shows me that the air dash looks like it's going to be a universal mechanic. It looks like you're going to be able to just jump air dash forward like in BBTAG. It doesn't look like there's startup on this one either, just like Iron Man. It looks like you're going to have access to a lot of good, solid aerial movement. Going to play some good old Blaze Blue neutral MAHVEL. This guy with the gun's not going to do anything. That's not relevant to anything. Whatever. This looks like a DP. If this is an anti-air, I'm going to be really surprised. This looks like a DP. The problem with it being a DP is that he's able to combo off of it. And I think it's really scary that both times in this trailer that we've seen someone jump in, the guy jumping in gets blown up. That's terrifying to me. I hope there is going to be some universally good option to bait out and punish anti-air with if you guess they're going to do it correctly. But anyway, after whatever this move is, there have been plenty of fighting games where you can just combo off DP. You can combo off like DPs in Blaze Blue Central Fiction if they land at the correct angle. So maybe it's something like that. He just does a normal jump cancel, aerial, that looks like aerial C from a BBTAG perspective, but that could also just be a special. The problem with it being a special is that then he does this, which looks much more like a special. So maybe this is like, sort of like something akin to a Lapras JB with this sort of hitbox, but just being multi-hit. Something like that. Just, so flame, aerial, anti-air, whatever, connects on a jumping in opponent, do a jump cancelable button, jump into something like this. If you can tag out of this move, I don't know how the tag system's gonna work. I'm just attributing it to BBTAG. If you can tag out of this move, that's crazy. Multi-hit buttons with like giant hitboxes all around you like that are so terrifying in team games. And then he does this fireball, which could be a special, could be a follow-up, could be JBB. That looked like the end of the combo, though. This man slides into his DMs. Don't know what this attack is. Seems to launch the grounded opponent, though. The sweep knocks him off his feet. So this button, like, might knock him a little bit further into the air for him to do the aerial confirm. Jumps, does an attack with the green flash. Well, he does the attack first. So maybe the green flash happened because the game registered that the attack connected. It could also be possible that the player registered that it connected and then called the assist mechanic in upon realizing that. So Captain America comes in for his cross raid or assist or whatever, and then Doom also comes in for another assist. So this is probably nothing like cross raid. This is probably just a normal assist. So you got Cap doing charging star or whatever. Doom comes in and he tags into Doom. My guess here is that if you tag out into an assist, it's always going to go into the most recent assist that happened. That's my initial guess, because he was able to call both assists here, and obviously that's not a thing in BBTAG. Kind of reminds me of Naruto Storm 4, where you could have like multiple assists. You couldn't do anything like this in Naruto Storm 4 though. So this is crazy. So you could probably tag into whichever is the most recent assist, and then Dr. Doom does this disrespectful ass command grab where he grabs this man's face and just smacks the hell out of him. So I don't know if this was just a micro dash into a grab, or if maybe this is a follow-up attack from tagging into him. God only knows, right? It's definitely a combo ender, that's for sure. You ain't comboing off that. And then he just aura farms because he's Dr. Doom. They had to get that in there. This man has the Azrael dash. This is what I saw, and I'm like, okay, I have to make a video about this, because I saw this man, Dr. Doom, aura farm into the Azrael dash, which is one of the scariest things he can do in a game with assists, because he can just call assist and do that. And this man over here had the audacity to press a button. And the recovery on this move is just too much. This man just takes out the revolver, the Glock, blows that man up for it. I don't know what this is. This laser's locking onto his position. This is a terrifying move. This sort of reminds me of like this attack Risei had in Persona 4 Arena that would lock onto the opponent. 9 also sort of has an attack like this, and I guess 9's is bigger. But the thing about those attacks is that Risei had to like do a move that locked onto you before she could do this, and 9 had to like get her magic meter to a certain spot before she could do this. But just seeing this move that just follows Ghost Rider as he forward techs. By the way, very important thing here, notice how he has like a white outline as he's rolling forward. This means that, I'm guessing, we're going to have invulnerable forward and back teching. It might just be forward if the game's whack, but I'm guessing we're going to be able to tech neutral forward or back with invul, like in BBTAG, because in mainline BlazBlue, if you teched forward or back as opposed to neutral, you didn't get invul. And based off this white outline, it looks like he was invulnerable while rolling forward, getting up after being shot in the face, which is cool. I think that you should have access to those teching options without being blown up just for deciding to not neutral tech. So that's really cool. He calls assist, does an air dash, and this is new. This is like the Azrael dash, but in the air, which is terrifying. This is more some 9 the Phantom bullshit, and leads me to believe that in a game with assists, where Dr. Doom can do things like this to you, this man's gonna be top tier, and I'm gonna hate him, and they're probably doing this because of Avengers Doomsday, and they want the man to be broken. But it's my guess, man. They gotta cater to the publicity, the Marvel, what's new, what's coming out and whatnot. This man jumps off of, I don't know if it was the Star-Lord assist that launched him. I'm guessing it wasn't. I'm guessing it was this Doom lock-on thing. Just launches the man into the air. Man, high jumps? This looks like a high jump, by the way. There's no way a normal jump goes that high. And just grabs his face. Can we talk about how disrespectful grabbing someone's face is? If I'm this Ghost Rider, I'm closing the application. Because this doesn't look like an animation that happened because of a move he did. That looked like a high jump into a command grab that combos for some reason. And then he just does it again. Like here we see the Ghost Rider get the white like the white outline on him while he's back rolling. So yes, there is back rolling. It looks like the back rolling will have invuln. That's cool. That's all really good. And then he just calls the set play and just does it again. They better balance this, because just being able to throw this out on a knocked down opponent and then act in a game with assists is so scary. But we do see when Ghost Rider calls this assist to hit Dr. Doom jumping in, which, again, everyone who jumps in looks like the grounded player's options are just so much better. This looks like a back assist, which is an anti-air assist in BBTAG, or Stormlight goes up to punish opponents that are at that aerial angle. And it looks like the Doom set play does go away if he gets hit. Thank God for that, at least. So he does tag into Storm. We don't get to see anything else after that. This is just a cinematic super. Unless this man is going straight into the cinematic super from tagging in. And if that is the case, which it looks like it might be based on the positioning of the characters, then this crap happened in frame 1. He was able to tag into her, which again is a screen freeze, and go straight into a super. So if there is bursts, I'd be very surprised if the Doom was able to react here. This looks like the man just, this just looks like you just die. If you get called out by an assist, they tag into it and you go into super. Can she combo off it though? Didn't look like it. This is just an animation. Alright, now we got some Storm gameplay. We got button, jump, aerial button. Storm is known to be an aerial character, so I wouldn't be surprised if she has a lot of launchers on the ground to go into aerial combos. So, what's she doing here? It looked like Doom was already knocked off his feet, so this is not a launcher. This is just button, jump cancel, button, button, or no, that was special. So, button, jump, button, special, button, that looked like a light. So that was probably A. This is probably B. A, B, B follow-up. Yeah, that looked like a follow-up. A, B, B follow-up. And then it looked like it did a cinematic thing, so this was probably going to be a screen transition afterwards. 4v4. That's a lot of characters on the team. I, once again, really hope it's 4 players versus 4 players. I want to play this with the boys. Now, I'm not even going to try to dissect this, because look at all this bullshit that's going on. The only thing that I want to take note of here is that Doom is not the active character, which means this set play lock-on BS is going to be an assist. Why would they do this? That's the power of Doom. Impending Doom. I can't even tell who the active character is here. There's no indication of who's active. He's calling Storm. I don't even know where Doom is. Spider-Man's fighting the man off that he ain't even on screen anymore. It looks like Iron Man and Cap are active. So let's see if we can follow this at least a little. Iron Man and Cap are active. Iron Man called the Spider-Man back assist. Captain America blocked it. He called his forward assist. Iron Man realized he's in set play hell and just wants to get the heck away. Just does an aerial backdash, which, good to know that you can aerial backdash. You could not in Under Night, and it sucked. So, good to know that's in this game. Iron Man calling assist. It's cool that he was able to call assist in the air, and it looks like Storm is in the air when she comes in and does the assist. So I don't know if characters are going to have air-specific assists. They might, or maybe it's just they do the grounded assist but at a higher elevation. Maybe this is Storm-specific. Who the heck knows? I'm going to assume that there are aerial assists. Or maybe it's just because Storm is an aerial character and this is just where she is. Even she would be there even if he was on the ground when he called the assist. But then this Doom set play BS beats her ass. And we're going to have to see if you do just stick with one character all match. If getting your assist hit like that would get rid of some of your health. And it does in the Guilty Gear 3v3 mode. So that makes me think that, yes, you do only have to play with one character if you want. You do not have to tag out. But if you call assist like an idiot and your assist gets hit, maybe you will lose health from your health bar. And maybe you just can't lose the match like that, because that's how it was in Guilty Gear. But there was also a lot of instances in that mode where you could call assist, and if they get hit, then it didn't take anything away from your health bar. Basically, it depends on how they want the tag out mechanics to work and how they want you to be able to be punished for throwing assist out in an inopportune time. BBTAG did not have any cooldowns on its assist, and Guilty Gear did. So given that you're going to have 3 teammates, my best guess is that they're going more towards the cooldown route, which is scary. And most of the reason why I believe they went with that route for Guilty Gear is because it was 3 players versus 3 players, as opposed to just managing the assist yourself. So I don't think there's any real foundation for having this many assists in the back pocket if it really is going to be just a 1 player versus 1 player game. So we'll have to see what the punishment is for getting your assist hit. We'll have to see what the cost is for calling assists. And then everyone just calls everyone, which is interesting. They call these 2, and then Captain America calls someone else. Because apparently that's something you can do. Lasers everywhere. This storm aerial assist once again makes me think that everyone's gonna have like aerial assists as well as grounded assists. This reminds me of the Morrigan aerial projectile from Marvel, where she could jump and throw it at this angle. This is a good angle. Jumping forward and like throwing this assist, that's a really good angle. You got this man just pressing every button on his controller over here. Looks like it's working out for him. This is chaos. This is slowed down 0.4%. I don't know what's going on. Cap shield's up there. Like, Dr. Doom. This Doom assist, let's look at this for a moment. Okay, for one, that Captain America assist went hella far. Sure. But this Doom assist is just Batista back assist laser. You can't be giving characters like this tools like this on the base roster. These tools are powerful. Oh, I can't imagine what neutral's gonna be in this game. Sweep. Button. Jump. I don't know what that was. That might have been a button or a special. But then he does this, which looks like, this actually looks like something from Naruto Storm as well, where like they would do like cinematic team attacks if you landed certain moves. And it looks like, he does something like that, where he does this attack, which sort of reminds me of the counter that Spider-Man did earlier, except here it's offensive. And he's doing it, and he's able to get this like cinematic team attack thing where everyone just beats his ass. But if you notice, it still looks like Star-Lord is still the center of attention here, because even after every character had their thing, he still hits them again at the end, which makes me think that this mechanic won't involve tagging out into anyone. This is sort of just looking cool. And then we got some more cinematics to finish it off. So, these look like supers. These look like level 3s as far as Marvel's concerned. There were some things in this video that looked like supers as it was, like that Star-Lord thing, but these look like a level above that. These look like level 3 Marvel supers, which may be astrals as far as like BBTAG terminology is concerned. We'll have to see. I don't know. The enemy literally just blew up. So, it's exciting. It's exciting to have another fighting game coming out that I'm like kind of actually looking forward to. It's exciting that Arc System Works is making it. They're the best fighting game developers, period. I will see no arguments in the comics. And it's coming out next year. PlayStation announced that official PS Fight Stick, probably just because this game exists. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, so I'm not sure how accurate any of this is to the comics or anything like that. And I also don't have anyone that I want too much to get into the game. Probably just the generic answers like Hulk and whatnot. But I'm very interested in how the game plays, and I'm really hoping that there will at least be a mode, a serious mode, not just an afterthought like in Dragon Ball or Guilty Gear, where players can group up in teams and actually do 4v4 matches. I hope that's like a real thought out mode, and I'm hoping that it is because of the Guilty Gear 3v3 beta, even though that is already dead in the water. So tell me what you think about the game in the comments, who you're gonna play, who you hope gets in. Maybe I'll continue covering this game. We'll see if it gets an actual 4v4 mode or not. But until then, this is Razzle48 saying goodbye, and I'll see you next time.